Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shea Station podcast. It's the first podcast of the offseason. The Atlanta Braves are World Series champions. We're not going to talk too much about that because we got a show of our own to do today. You know my voice. I'm Jolly. I'm here with Jerry Blevins as well. But we're really excited because for the first time ever on episode 18, we have our first friend of the pod. He's a reliever for the New York Mets. He's coming off his best season in his career, and he's one of the coolest dudes we know. We're joined today by reliever Drew Smith. And Drew, I know you're a Cowboys fan. Feeling pretty good about the season so far. Had to bring it up, man.
Sir.
Had to bring it up.
You know, I was worried about the Sunday night game against the Vikings when they said Dak wasn't going to play. But we were, 5-1. I was thinking 5-2 would be all right. But Cooper Rush stepping up.
The backup out of nowhere?
Time. Actually, I got my little good luck charm right here. Look at this guy.
Oh, show us. What?
Is that Dak?
So Big Tex, you ever, like the Texas State Fair? Have you heard of the Texas State Fair? It's got Big Tex. It's like this 100-foot statue, and they give those out where they're like stuffed animals. So
is it the Texas version of Burning Man?
Might be. That's what it looked like.
They
set it on fire at the end.
Oh, they actually did catch on fire at one point. I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
No, I'm not.
It did catch on fire.
It's a fire hazard.
But, that's great.
If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you just missed an entire show there. Better go check it out.
Yeah, we had was Drew brought out a doll with the Dax jersey on it. So he's making excuses for why he plays with dolls.
Yeah, exactly. I've had it for 5 years. So
if you're a Mets fan and you just figured out that Drew Smith is a Cowboys fan and you're a Giants fan at all, we're sorry about that. We're sorry to break the news to you, but we're really happy to have Drew here. Regardless,
you can't hold that against people.
Oh, I won't.
We're from all over.
No, that's true. I don't hold it against the Mets fans that they're Giants fans or Jets fans.
It's a dark time.
Yeah, it is. It's a dark time for both of them right now.
But Drew, we wanted to know how you spending your off season, man. You got doing any fun things? Watching any fun shows?
I've been down to Austin once. I went to the lake with some friends. Just been starting off season workouts and whatnot. Actually, have you heard of the show Squid Game?
I have heard of the show Squid Game, believe it or not.
Just finished that.
Very nice.
It was unreal. I binged that in like 3 days. I'm usually not a big binge watcher, but that was so good. I couldn't stop.
Yeah, of course.
But mainly just been relaxing, enjoying the first month off or so, playing a little golf, trying to get back on that. I took about 2 years off after having TJ. Kind of wanted to just focus on obviously getting healthy and not putting any extra stress on the elbow, and I'm not the best golfer, so chunking balls it is not great on the elbow, so I stayed away from that. So I got back on it, and it was a good thing I did stay away from it because I did chunk some balls, so the elbow was feeling good after though, where everything's good. Everything's
okay,
healthy.
good. Just making sure. What's like the strongest part of your golf game? Are you a big driver guy? You good with the iron?
No, irons. Me and irons do not get along well. Driver guy for sure. It might go 340 yards straight. It might go, 340 yards left, and occasionally 340 yards right. I honestly have no idea
but it's going far,
happen.
And that's what matters.
But it's going far, and I got club head speed. I got ball speed. That's the analytics name of the game now.
Yeah,
right?
golf analytics. Let's go, Drew. Very nice.
You're a multifaceted sport analytic guy. I love it.
100%.
So I wanted to ask you. You talked about coming off Tommy John. So in 2018, you come up. And you really made an impression on the fans, the organization, me in particular, getting to watch you. You just had a presence about you. I was like, all right, this kid is like the real deal. In 2019, you come into spring training and you're dealing. You're on your way to making the team, and then you have Tommy John. So you missed all of 2019. 2020 was a strange year for a million different reasons. The shuttle between Brooklyn and New York, and so that is like a wash. So this was your first real full season back, coming off Tommy John, and you dominated. You pitched well. What do you think was the key to your success this year?
So like you said, last year was such a weird year, but personally, I think I needed that a little bit. not the whole like COVID 60 game thing, but just it was almost like I had a pretty good rookie year, and then coming off TJ last year's just kind of like a reality check. Like, hey, this is still the big leagues. Like, you still got to earn your spot. You still got to pitch when you're called on in any situation. You got to do well. Like, I learned the hard way that, you know, one or two bad outings and you're shipped out. And as a guy with options, as I'm sure you know, Jerry, that's how it is sometimes, especially in a shortened season like that, where every game is magnitude. The magnitude is even higher because you got to win. So coming into this year, I just had more of I would say humble approach in terms of like, nothing's given to me. I have to go in and earn it. I have to come in spring training and make the team. I have to show them that I am healthy, because last year I wasn't hurt, but first year off TJ, velo was just a little bit down. I only threw 10 innings maybe total. So showing them I was healthy in spring was a big goal of mine, and obviously I didn't do that. But I I came back 4 weeks later, and I showed them I was healthy, and I just had a different mindset about it, like going out each time, no matter the situation, no matter who I was facing, the score, and just treating every outing like it was the same. I think that really helped me throughout the year, and obviously I pitched a lot better than I have in the past. So that was a big deal for me.
Yeah, Drew, it was just really awesome to see you like take the next step this year and like get your most innings in the bigs. Like it was really like just nice to see, because that trade, happened in 2018. We lost Lucas Duda, and like, you were touted as a big guy to get in return. I wanted to ask you, because you posted on your Twitter, for those who don't know, at DrewBU3, go follow him. He's the man.
Good follow. I think
follow.
You need to be more active, because you
I
don't show
know.
much personality. You're actually a pretty funny, fun dude. It's up to you. I understand that's a whole different can of worms, especially in the New York media. So I understand it, but I think you have a good personality for it if you ever want to venture that way.
Thank you.
And you definitely won over Mets fans this year. You definitely won us over. I wanted to ask you, because you tweeted out recently about how happy you were to see the Mets bringing back Jeremy Hefner for the 2022 season. I just want to know, like, what's your relationship with Hef? Like, how did he change your game this year? Like, I wanted to just know, like, about you two.
I have a really good relationship with Hef, and I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I feel like most guys on the staff have a good relationship with Hef. He's just, he was a player fairly recently, so having that connection with him obviously helps. He understands the analytical side and the more pitching mechanical side. I think there needs to be a balance. Obviously the game is going extremely analytical. But there's guys who know so much about analytics, but they can just tell you this is what you need to be like, but they can't, help you get there, or they can't show you what you're doing wrong to get there. And Hef has a perfect balance of both of those. And he helped me. There was a time this year where I was struggling with, I lost a little bit of my vertical break, my ride. And I couldn't figure out why. I had no idea why. And we looked at the Edgetronic, and I was just cutting the ball a little bit, and he was showing me how to stay behind it better. A couple little drills I was doing, and then the next outing it was back to normal. And it's the understanding of the analytics and how to fix it. It's not just one or the other. So I think he does a great job of integrating those two things and really helping guys out in every way he can. And he's one of the best pitching coaches I've had. So I have no complaints with him.
That's awesome, man. It's really good to hear. I'm sure a bunch of the teammates like share the same sentiment as you there. So I'm really happy he's back. I think he did a fantastic job. Really felt like he brought like the best out of guys like Taiwan in the first half, and especially you with like this career best season. So that's really good to hear.
Definitely. Yeah. I was kind of concerned when they picked up his option. I don't know how that stuff works, and then they didn't clarify what his job was. I was like, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm glad he's back. I couldn't be happier, and obviously hope we have a really good staff to go with him. So,
yeah. Speaking on that, like, have you been following any of the Mets off-season front office kind of coaching managers? Have you been following along, and does that affect you at all?
I've been trying to keep up a little bit, but honestly, whoever it is, it doesn't affect the job I have to do. So I would prefer, obviously, to be in tune with it and know what's going on. But I still have to come in and pitch, no matter who the manager is, no matter who the GM is, no matter who the president of baseball operations is. So in the end, it doesn't necessarily affect me directly, but I still obviously want to know who who we're going to hire and whatnot. And when the Padres hired Bob Melvin, I was kind of like, he was a guy that was I've always liked, and I think I've seen you talk about it a little bit on Twitter. He's one of your favorite managers. So
yeah, I'm a big fan. I was sad too. Happy for him because he gets to be in San Diego and closer to home. But yeah,
for sure.
I think that's really what it came down to too, right? Just a West Coast thing.
Yeah, who wants to move? Who wants to move across the country?
I get it. I wouldn't want to
the
either.
New York market. It's just tough. It's a different animal. But I'm sure we'll find somebody that's well worth being in New York. So
absolutely. Yeah, it's been dizzying to just try and keep up with like every new hire, and then 3 days later they're like, actually they're out of the running, but there's somebody else, and then but wait, no, they're out of the running, but we found somebody cool from this organization. So it's like a nightmare process.
I don't even know any of their names that are like anybody besides the big already established names. Everybody else, I'm like, sure, that sounds good. Sure. I don't know. Sure.
The new one hot in the streets is Raquel Ferreira from the
that's it. Where are we at now?
I think she's getting an interview. Somebody said that she's out of it, and then somebody said she's getting an interview. So like, who knows? But
who knows?
We're just here to talk some ball.
We'll find out.
All right, so Drew, I did some digging, man. I know you're a Dallas Baptist guy. You got 3rd round draft pick, all that. You actually we got some Mets legends from Dallas Baptist too. Vic Black. I don't know if that rings a bell. He was the man back in the day. I was a big Vic Black guy. Ben Zobrist was back in Dallas Baptist. Do you keep up with any of those guys from college? Because I know you're a big Texas guy, obviously, Cowboys.
Yeah, I've kept up with them a little bit. Ben would come back. We have an alumni game or pro game every year, and he would come back every year for that. And so once I got drafted and started playing on the other side of that, I got to be teammates with him once a year. And man, he's a great dude. One of the best people I've ever met. Just very genuine, great teammate. When I pitched against him in 2018, my rookie year in Chicago, and he texted me immediately after the game, just tell me how good I looked, and I got him out. Thankfully, hit a hard ground ball, but I got him out. But
heck yeah,
he's a patient guy, and he took a hack at the first pitch. So I was like, all right, he's trying to.
Well, he knows he's going to see you. He's going to see you off the field. He's trying to jump on top. Good for you, man.
But, yeah, he's a great guy. Vic, same way. I didn't get to spend as much time with him because he got hurt and then kind of left and started trying to get healthy and play with a couple other teams. I don't know if he's still playing or not. The last time I saw, he was helping guys with arm health, like the arm doctor or something. That's what he was doing.
That's cool.
But I think the world of Ben, Vic, great guy, and I try to keep up with all my Dallas Baptist guys. We're a close-knit group. We have a group of about 10 guys who go up there and still work out in the off season. So it's a good little community we got.
Yeah, where are you in the country right now? Where's your off season?
I live a little like 20 minutes outside of Fort Worth, Texas, a little west of Fort Worth. And then I still go up to DBU to work out and throw. That's where I do my off-season training. They just built a suite like underneath the stadium weight room. They have a pitcher's lab and all turf field. So
that's awesome.
I have no complaints, man. It's everything you need. And the weather's obviously year round. It stays at least decently warm here. So we can do everything we need to do outside, and it's a good spot.
Yeah, it's like 40 degrees in New York today, man. It's rough out there.
It's actually cold. It's raining and it's like 55 here. That's
like cold
January
for Texas,
weather. Yeah,
it's like some Texas winter stuff.
We had our first frost here in Ohio. I walked out the backyard and there's frost on the ground.
Ooh.
I was like, oh no, I'm not ready. It's beautiful because the leaves are changed, but then I see that frost on the ground. I'm like, slow down. Let's not do that yet.
Let's take it step by step. But it's November, man. It's weird.
It was 92 degrees here last week, and then today it's 55. So I don't know what we're doing.
I mean, I brought up DBU because I wanted to ask you. I'm the big stats guy in the pod. I did my dig and whatever. High draft pick, 3rd round. I wanted to know about like any changes you made, like that first year in pro ball and amateur ball at single A, because I noticed like big jump up in the stats. Like you had a really good year at single A. right after like, a pretty decent year at your final year at DBU. So was there anything significant changing, or was it just like a change of environment thing? Or is it too far back in your memory at this point?
No, I actually know exactly when things changed, and it happened in college. I've talked to multiple people about this. It was the last weekend series of the year before we went into like the conference tournament and whatnot. I was pitching against Wichita State, and I'd given up 2 runs. The bases were loaded. Still didn't have an out, and our head coach came out and he just ripped me. And usually he only comes out to pull you. And he was walking out, and I look in the bullpen, and nobody was warming up, and I was like, oh no. I was like, here we go. Just came out, ripped me. I was like, I thought it would get me going. And then the next batter, I give up a grand slam.
Oh.
So I give up a six spot and nobody out. And I just look in the dugout, and he's just standing there looking at me like this. I look out in the bullpen, nobody's warming up, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna. It was like the 6th or 7th inning. I was like, I'm just gonna wear this. I ended up throwing 3 innings after that, punching out 5, no hits, no walks, and it just kind of like something clicked. Like after giving up the grand slam, I just had this I don't care attitude, and like I got good stuff. Like I don't know why this is happening. I'm just gonna try to throw hard up in the zone and throw a breaking ball off that. And then I was like, oh, it's that easy. For the time being, it was that easy. And then I got drafted, and I just kind of kept that same I don't care attitude. And obviously my first short season of pro ball was really, really good. I'd always had a history of walks throughout college. I gained so much velo so fast that my body just didn't really know how to handle it. I wasn't synced up mechanically. And I think just over time throwing more, I kind of got in tune with my mechanics, and I hit my stride at just the right time. But at the time, I was obviously I think I was an overdrafted player based on numbers and whatnot in college. So I was glad I figured it out pretty quickly. So.
Drew, they knew what was up. Come on. Who are you kidding right now? Who are you trying to kid?
Yeah, then they traded me.
The trajectory of your career now looks like you were underdrafted. But I want to say that is so cool that you know the moment. That's like an unbelievable thing. And the fact that it was like a mental switch from almost like thinking about it as a big picture. You're worried about what's happening in the game, and you turn it around. It seemed to be pitch to pitch. Like, I'm just going to execute this pitch. Fastballs up, and then go from there. You turned into like a killer, like a bulldog. You went out there and you're like, I don't care. I'm gonna shove. That's it. That's awesome. That turnaround, because Jolly was talking about like the numbers, and it really switched. And for you to know that's so cool. Thank you for sharing that story. That's awesome.
For sure. It was interesting. Like and my junior year was really, really good until that moment. And then that obviously like just screwed up my number. You're a reliever, you give up 6 runs without getting an out. Like you mess up your career, like whole season numbers. So that skewed it a little bit, but even up to that point, I was very underperforming my whole college career. But literally from that moment on, it was even going into pro ball, it just, everything switched, and it was awesome. It was a good moment.
I'm glad I unearthed like a good story there. I thought it was just going to be a straight up bad memory. Like as soon as you started the story, I was like, oh no.
I've talked to my college pitching coach about that. Like he's actually now the pitching coach of the Minnesota Twins, Wes Johnson.
Very nice.
Oh wow, awesome. Dallas Baptist representing.
Let's go.
Yeah, he went from DBU to Mississippi State for 1 year, and then Arkansas for 2 years, and then straight to the show. So he knows what he's doing. But
so you're still at Dallas Baptist. You talked about having a pitch lab. Does that have high-speed cameras, a Rapsodo?
Yeah, they have it all. The high-speed cameras aren't usually out like for just everyday use. They'll bring them out when they need to. But we have access to Rapsodo, TrackMan. They actually have Yacker Tech. It's like a new. I don't really know the whole function of it, but it's like a combination of their cameras on the side of the field, and it's a combination like TrackMan, Rapsodo, but it's through cameras instead of like a device. Yeah, it's insane.
Did you use that? So when you came up, what I noticed from you in 18 was that you were great fastball, an amazing curveball, and an occasional changeup. And then in a little bit in 20, but definitely in 21, you started using a cutter like 30% of the time. What do you think? Like, is that something that you developed at DBU? Where did that come from, and how do you see the usage going forward?
So COVID really actually helped me out in this particular instance. I hate saying that, but I got time to get ready because I wasn't going to be ready for the season and the start if we started in April. But having that extra time coming back from TJ, I could get ready, and I started toying around with this cutter during my rehab process, which probably wasn't the best idea, throwing a new pitch while you're coming back from TJ. But I also didn't have any PTs at the time because I was back home. We went back home. We were just kind of in a debate with, when the season was going to start. We were trying to not communicate a lot with the teams, kind of thing, all that. So I started throwing this cutter, and it just literally, my buddy was like, hold it like this. I threw it, and I was like, wow, that was pretty good. And then I went to the mound, started throwing it, and it just clicked. It was a true cutter at first, and then now I've turned it to more of a slider, kind of like down. I realized when I don't throw the true cutter good, it gets hit to the moon. So I'm trying to stay away from that a little bit. I think I've given up, 8 homers on my cutter. So I'm trying to turn it more into a slider that's going down. But it literally just came out from just COVID, just toying around with grips. And then it became a really, really big pitch for me. Even 2020, I obviously didn't pitch a lot, but I still threw it a good amount of percentage. And then this year I leaned on it a lot. And it's going to be a big pitch for me going forward. It's one of my highest swing and miss percentage pitches. Although the risk reward is a little bit, like I said, I give up some homers on it, but it got a lot better once I turned it into more of a true slider rather than just kind of like a flat cutter,
So first of all, there's a lot in there. I love pitching is all about tinkering. You're constantly messing with grips, thinking about new things, ways to improve all the time. So your buddy, do you want to give him a shout out real quick on who showed it?
His name is Corey Taylor. He's actually not even playing right now anymore. He had learned this cutter. Corey Taylor, Mets Corey Taylor. This is a different Corey Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He started throwing a cutter and he was just like, try this grip. This was like the old Mariano Rivera grip that he found online. And I just grabbed that and started throwing it. And then I've toyed with it a little bit since just to make it more of a slider, but it was literally I've never had something click that quickly. First time I threw it, just darted.
That's awesome. And then you talked about how you do you think when you're throwing it, do you think slider now versus cutter?
Yeah, I have to, because if I think cutter, so when I throw the cutter, I wish I had a ball lying around here. I try to stay behind it more, like a four seam.
Mm-hmm. The true cutter to get that flat.
Yeah, you want like Kenley Jansen, it's almost like his is like a rising cutter. It just kind of keeps that plane. But when I started trying to make it a slider, I think getting out in front, I don't know. I don't think I'm actually doing that per se, because that's more like curveball, but if I think that, it helps me stay a little bit, instead of staying behind it, maybe just getting a little bit over it, which creates more of that downward tilt. So I have to think slider. I can't think cutter. Otherwise I give up 450-foot home runs. So
I get it. So on top of that, so when you came up in 18, your curveball was a big weapon. Last year, you didn't use it very much. Are you thinking about incorporating that more, or are you just kind of, if you need it kind of thing? What are you focusing on this, your first healthy off season? What are you thinking about improving going into next year?
It's funny you brought that up. I just talked to Hef last week, and he mentioned my curveball and me throwing it more next year. So that's one of the things.
Good. I literally
pitching
wrote that in the
coach?
notes. I was like, it was a weapon, and I think you should use it more. Hef and I are on the same page, so it's
good. I got away from it. It's like you get that new toy, and you just start, like my cutter, my slider, I just started kind of abusing it a little bit, and it got me in trouble sometimes. But if I start mixing the curveball in more, I think that'll give guys another look. And I started throwing my changeup a little bit more this year too. So that's another thing that I would like to keep throwing next year. I kind of, I see myself as maybe like a poor man Seth Lugo. That's what I kind of want to like. He's got 4 or 5 pitches, coming out of the pen, can throw 2 or 3 innings if he needs to. And that's kind of what I want to be. I want to be able to throw 4 pitches for a strike and give a team length if I need to. But the curveball is going to definitely be a pitch for me next year that I lean on more, and as well as my changeup. So.
Yeah, I also consider myself a poor man Seth Lugo because, this is just a conversation between 3 big league pitchers,
Hey, a poor man Seth Lugo is still a really good pitcher, so I'll take that.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we've done a lot of pitching talk. Obviously, we're all big league pitchers here. We all know the game that well. We all know our grips. Drew, I wanted to talk to you because stats guy, obviously, I already brought that up. I did digging. Found that you got a big league at bat this year over in Pittsburgh against JT Brubaker. You made contact, man. I saw it. You made solid contact, which was hype. How was it? Just take me through it. Take me through it.
So I came in. It was the game that Louis got tossed, and it was the crazy game.
It was the nightmare game that turned out okay.
The night that turned out we won, so it was okay. But it started off terrible. We were like, Louis got tossed. Ty went. I don't know, was the third of an inning, had it like 5 spot up. I had to get hot in 10 seconds while Louis is getting tossed. I was like, this is insane. So I go in the game, get the outs, come in the dugout, and Jousey was like, hey, you're up third. Just grab a bat. I was like, oh, I'm hitting. He's like, well, you gotta give us a couple more innings. I was like, all right. I didn't have a bat, didn't have a helmet, anything. He told me actually not to swing. He was like, if there's 2 outs and nobody on, just because we've had guys that were already like going down this year from
That's
swinging.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So he was like, if there's 2 outs and nobody on, do not swing the bat. And I was like, Jousey, this is my first big league AV. I gotta swing the bat. I cannot go up there.
Come on,
I can't go up there and take 3 pitches. He's like, all right, well, you can't swing hard and do not run it out. He's like, you don't need no pull. I was like, all right, fair enough. So I think he was throwing like 90, 93, 94, but I swear it was 106. I gained so much more respect by when you're on the mound. It truly looks like 60 feet, 6 inches. When you're in the box, it looks like 30 feet, 6 inches. I don't get it. It's insane.
Pittsburgh is that way too. You feel like you're right on top of the hitter.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. But I laid off a slider in the dirt, which I was very proud of. It was like, I think it was a 1-1 or 1-2 count. Fouled one off and hit a 73 mile per hour exit velo ground ball to second base. So I don't know if you count that as a win, but
that is a win. Definitively.
I personally count it as a win. I didn't strike out. I didn't pull a Jerry and get a knock up the middle, but I did not strike out.
Jerry's knock was good. It was a garbage time knock, but it was still a knock. A
knock is a knock. There's no garbage time. There's no It doesn't.
This is the bat. This is how much I love that.
Yes.
This is the bat.
I love
incredible.
that. I love that. But I'm kind of disappointed the DH might be coming next year because now I don't get my chance to ever get a big league hit.
That makes sense. I was gonna say, are you happy that you never have to do it again?
That is a victory, man. You put the ball in play. That's amazing. Like you're jogging down to first, you get thrown out. You're like, that's pretty darn cool, man.
That's fine. Right when I hit it in play, I was like, all right, I'm good. That's fine.
That was our slice of starting pitcher Drew Smith right there.
Yeah, true.
Pretty good stuff. All right, so we have to turn it back to pitching because obviously we can't talk about your hitting all day. I just wanted to know because we're talking a lot about your mixing up your pitch repertoire and your sequencing and stuff like that. Is your approach to this offseason going to be different than any other offseason in the past, or is it kind of just business as usual at this point?
No, it's definitely different. I obviously got hurt twice this year. I can contribute it probably to last year being my first year off TJ and only throwing 8 innings. The first year off TJ is really important for guys. You need to build at least a little bit of an innings count, and I wasn't necessarily able to do that. So this innings wise was technically my first year off of Tommy John. And I talked to Trevor May about it. He had a couple injuries coming back from TJ, and he's usually not a guy who gets injured a lot, and I was the same way. So I was really frustrated with that, but it made me look at my program a little differently, like off-season program. What am I doing maybe that could be causing that? Or was it strictly just Tommy John related or COVID, post-COVID season related? But I've been a big strength-based training guy in the off season. I'm not a very big guy, so I try to focus on getting as strong as possible. And then the season, it's hard for me to maintain weight because I have a really fast metabolism, so I lose strength really quickly. So I really focus on that in the off season. But I think this year I'm definitely transitioning away from that. I'm doing more of a stability based program. I'm sure y'all follow Marcus Stroman. He's extremely into like stability based training. I mean, strength too, but like his stability is some of the best I've ever seen. And for him to be able to throw 34 starts after not pitching at all last year was truly incredible to me. So that kind of like made me look and be like, maybe there's something to this stability type training. And I've kind of switched that up to this off season. I'm gonna do that. I've already started it, and I do feel better. Like I feel looser. Like I've always lifted heavier, and that would create, maybe like tight hamstrings, tight shoulders, stuff like that, which could contribute to injuries. So I'm going to try this, and I'm pretty confident that it's going to be something different and have some different results for me.
How's your handstand?
I can't. You know what? That's literally one of the things I want to do before the off season is over. After I saw that video, I was like, that is incredible. Like just how still he was while he was doing it too.
This spring training, like I was walking out to watch DeGrom throw on the mound, and he's in the training or in the weight room that I was walking through, and I look over and I just didn't know. I look over and he's doing this handstand, and his legs are going back and forth and just holding steady. I was like, yeah. All right. I'm not sure how much like that actually helps you, but it's pretty damn cool.
It's impressive. Yeah. And it's like, there's no movement at all. That's the crazy part. Like he's not like trying to hold his balance. He's just firmly planted. It's really impressive, but I don't know if I'll ever get to that.
It helps
point.
being a shorter guy, I imagine, on that too. So
yeah, it's true. That is true. You said it, not me. So
he's good. Height doesn't measure heart. He knows that.
That is true.
Drew, I think it's really cool that you're like bringing up your teammates and stuff, and like how that's kind of changed your outlook on the whole thing. Is there it's hard to pick one, obviously, because you're a whole squad of talented guys. Is there like one teammate you feel like you learned like a ton from in this past season?
It's going to be a pretty cliche answer, but you can learn a lot by just watching Jacob deGrom pitch. Like, I know he only pitched half the year, but to be able to watch the greatest pitcher, I think, in the world, like, I know that's
you'd be right,
somewhat of a debate, right. But I really don't think it's
not really. There's no debate. Ask anybody.
You can, to be able to watch it every fifth day and see what he does. It's just truly incredible. Just the way he goes about his business. How well he locates to his glove side of the plate, like consistently. Like people don't realize how difficult that is to do at such a high level. Like, I mean, if you watch him pitch, if he throws 100 pitches, I bet 85 of them he is on his glove, and that's incredibly difficult to do. And his slider is obviously one of the best in the game. It's just, you can learn a lot just from watching him throw. But also Trevor May was a big help for me in the bullpen, just kind of picking his brain a little bit. He prepares as well or better than anybody I've played with. Always looking at sheets and notes and iPads, and him and Lugo are always on top of that. So those three guys were a big help for me, and I think that they laid a good foundation for something to kind of look after going forward in my career too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you talked about looking at iPads and kind of scouting stuff. Is there anything that you would tell your younger self, like somebody just coming up, like you're now, you've got some time now, you're going into your first year arbitration, which I want to ask you about in a little bit, but is there something that you've learned just from being in the big leagues that you would share for the next, somebody gets called up for the first time, or maybe is just, just kind of getting their feet wet? What piece of advice would you pass down to that person?
That's pretty simple. I mean, it's still baseball. Like, I think that's the biggest thing coming up to the big leagues that some guys get lost in, is it's a big jump in terms of competition and more so just like the stadium. You're pitching in front of 3 decks instead of 1 or 2. It's the environment, the atmosphere. But at the end of the day, it's still baseball, and it's the same game we've been playing all of our lives, and nothing's changed. And that the competition's a little bit different. There's a couple of better players, but you're still doing the same thing. And I think that's important to remember, because it's very easy to get lost in the moment or get overwhelmed with who you're facing, or especially as a rookie, as a younger guy. Not so much obviously now, but I think that's something a lot of guys struggle with early in their careers. And that's why you see, I think, a lot of guys bounce up and down for the first part. But once you get control of that, and you realize, I've had to tell myself multiple times, like it's still baseball, and that's the best way I can put it. And I think that really helped my mentality going forward, and helped me just kind of settle in.
It's great advice. That's I've been told that a few times. You get caught up in the moment, and you're just like, relax, man. You've done this 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. It's just baseball. I do want to get into the arbitration. So you're in a unique spot in your career where you are arbitration eligible this year. How much are you going to be involved? Is that something that you've got an agent that you trust? You're just going to do your off season, don't worry about it? Or are you going to be involved with the back and forth kind of stuff?
It's a weird off season to be a first year ARB guy, obviously, with the new CBA and everything, and nothing's going to be really discussed until after whenever the new CBA is agreed upon, whenever that is. So there's really not a lot I can do right now. I do want to be informed on the process. I know a little bit about arbitration, but obviously there's a lot to it, and a lot I can learn about it. And I do want to have my agent kind of walk me through it. I just want to know kind of what I'm walking into, what I'm going into. I'll obviously let them handle the majority of this stuff, but I want to be informed on the decision making, obviously the communication between the team and my agency. So it's exciting. Like, obviously first year arbitration, you feel like you've taken a step in the right direction in terms of your baseball career. So I'm hoping it goes well, and I'm hoping that I have a few more years of it with the Mets the next couple of years. So
sweet. Thanks for that's true. I totally forgot about the CBA being up, and that just puts a halt on everything.
That's what he literally called me last week and was like, "Hey man, I just want to let you know that we're kind of in a waiting game until the CBA." And I was like, "Oh, that's fine," but it's just wait and see what happens, and
just go about your training and expect to start on time, and let the chips fall where they may, or just play it as it goes. Good.
Yeah, Jerry, you had some nightmare years in arbitration, right? Because I've learned a lot about the process since like joining up with Jomboy, and speaking with guys that have gone through it, and it just sounds like mean in general.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it just simply because like the bottom line is there's baseball, and then there's the business of baseball, and if you can separate those two and understand that the ML, like your team's job right now is to pay you as little as they can. And your job is to make sure you're getting paid at least your value. And so if you can separate the two sides and understand that it's a business at this point, it's really fascinating to kind of get a look at the goings on. It got pretty ugly. I went through the arbitration process. It's very unique. It's a lot of guys can't handle the way you get talked to in those aspects, but I knew who I was. I knew I wasn't Mariano Rivera or Jacob deGrom. I knew I was middle of the pack kind of guy. So I knew what I was worth, or I thought I knew what I was worth, and I ended up winning. So I did. But I enjoyed it. It was interesting. Just the process. And so, but I understand if some guys want to be hands off, I just want to play baseball. Playing baseball is the hardest thing to do. It's so difficult to stay focused, to train, to keep your body healthy, mentally healthy, and be ready to get big league hitters out. And so if you can't do both, I completely get it, or don't want to do both.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories from guys in arbitration cases about going in and listening to the team just say why you're not worth what, it's just like, it's part of the business. It is. It, like you said, it's strictly business. It's nothing personal. They're not, dogging you on purpose, like to actually, upset you. It's strictly just to get you paid less. And that's part of it.
I mean, the Mets might know now that you have Mariano Rivera's cutter in your arsenal. So I mean, I think they're going to pay you what you deserve.
I completely. It's not even the same pitch anymore. But true. Maybe I can comp that into my arbitration.
Just show them the grip. Just like show them what you showed me. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
That's true.
I mean, you're 0 for 0 or you're 0 for 1 at the plate. So you put the ball in play. You might be able to swing the two sides there.
Exactly. Get the
two-way play.
Ohtani arbitration or something, you know?
Exactly.
He's shown his capabilities. I mean, so you guys actually have a link to each other from 2018 that I found in my dig, and I talked to Jerry a little bit about it. At the Little League Classic, you guys were buddies with Team Korea. A lot going on there. Could I just get the full story there? Like, how was your experience with all that and playing there?
I loved it. It was awesome. I was talking to somebody about it in the dugout after I pitched. I played at that stadium in the minor leagues in the New York Penn League. So
really?
Going back out there in a big league uniform, like it was weird. It just didn't feel like a big league game to me. I know it was, but like it just felt like I was throwing it back to my first year in pro ball in the minor leagues in the Penn League. It was fun to have all like the little league kids there. Like it was just a good time. I'm glad they do that. I think it's good for the game. It's good for the kids at the Little League World Series. And I hope that the Mets are a part of it in the next couple of years. I really enjoyed it. What about you, Jerry?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it, man. I never was like really good on really good teams in the Little League. So seeing that like environment, how crazy the stadiums are packed. It's so cool. Had I not been there, like, I think I'll go back at some point to watch it as a fan. And it's so cool that MLB and the Players Association bring teams there, because I think it's just a great way to grow the game. It was I actually didn't get a chance to pitch. A little bit jealous that you got to go in there, but it was, it was a fun game to be a part of and just a fun thing to see. Baseball's all over, like all over the world, and to see another country embrace America's pastime and see how they develop it and talk to the Korean players, and they love baseball just as much, if not more, than we do. And so it was such a unique experience. I got to meet Big Al. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
Big Al. He just hit stingers. Like, I mean, that was so cool. I felt like, yeah, me too. I did. I was like, hey, I need a selfie with you. He's like, hey, come on over here. Get in line.
Yeah, and I found the
pictures. There are so many big league guys that took selfies with him. Oh, sorry. My headphones are like a little delayed.
No, you're all good, dude. Don't worry about it. I found the pictures. It was short hair Drew Smith. That was definitely a little jarring now because I'm used to long hair now. The long hair is like here to stay, right? Like it's not going anywhere.
Oh, I knew that was going to come up.
Come on, I gotta ask, man. I gotta.
It's gonna be going sometime pretty soon. It's gonna be going. I'm gonna look like Jolly Olive here.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna go back to the. It's just so I've never done this before. It's the first time ever growing my hair out past like probably your length. Like it's always been short my whole life. I'm glad I did it. Is the quarantine really helped me out. I got through like the first couple months and I literally couldn't get a haircut. So that helped me like decide to do it. But it's so much work, man. It's like, and if I don't have it up, it's always in my face or blowing in my mouth. Like
Jerry knows all about this. Jerry knows the life.
Jerry's you got to be. Are you sticking to it, Jerry? What's going on?
There's been at least 5 times where I'm like, I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, it's going away. I can't do it.
That's where I'm at right now. That is where I'm at.
Yeah.
Right
so I'm riding it. I'm gonna keep it a little bit longer, and maybe probably at least through the winter time, and we'll see from there. Like. It's a lot more work than I was anticipating. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we've had questions about his hair products and all that. But so if you're cutting it, what I'm understanding is that if you're cutting your long hair, we're gonna get your Jacob deGrom transformation.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to cut it. I was like, I look back at deGrom, but he did it for like 3 or 4 years of long hair. Right. So maybe I need another year of long hair, but still pitch.
Get a jump start on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just speed up the process, man.
He took his career to a completely new level when he went back to short hair. So
I remember everybody was worried that it was going to be like a Samson thing, like, oh, he's not going to be the same. And then he won 2 consecutive Cy Youngs, and he's the best pitcher on the planet. So you have a high bar that you've got to reach here if you cut your hair.
If I fall a little bit short of that bar, I think I'll still be okay though.
Yeah.
I will.
I think fans will understand. Don't worry.
Yeah.
If you don't come out and win Cy Young next year.
I want to let's keep it light here. So were you always a pitcher growing up, or did you play another position? Because I want to know if you could play something besides pitcher, why? What and why?
I actually played outfield and shortstop throughout high school. I didn't start pitching consistently until my sophomore year of high school. And I pitched on JV mainly. I didn't throw very hard. I was a good outfielder, pretty good infielder. But I would probably choose center field. I loved playing outfield. I think throwing somebody out on the bases is one of like the best feelings. I don't know why. Like better than striking somebody out, like someone trying to stretch a double into triple and you just hose them or something like that. That's one of the best feelings.
Because it's really the guy saying, "I think you can't throw me out. I'm going to go."
Yeah,
take
he's
this
like,
extra
I
base."
think I'm faster than your arm. Like I think you have a weak arm or something like that. And it's just kind of insulting. He's running in your face. You got to throw him out. But
you give him the I don't think so.
No. I actually was recruited as an outfielder before I was recruited as a pitcher for college. So it was a small Division II school. I went to like a showcase camp and had a good showing. And I had two D2 schools want me for outfield. And then my junior summer, I started throwing like 88, 89. So nobody wanted me for outfield anymore, which is sad. But everybody wanted me for pitchers, so that's how I got stuck with pitching.
Would you rather throw somebody out at the plate to win the game, like to save the game?
Yes.
Or would you rather rob a home run?
Oh, I think I'm throwing somebody out at the plate to end the game. I think
that's a bold statement.
He's got the gun.
I know robbing a home run is sick, but I think throwing somebody did we have somebody do that this year or like late in the game?
I remember Almora nearly robbed somebody, I think on the Cardinals, and it somebody robbed Almora. Never mind. I had that totally backwards.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't believe
it. We did so Ender Inciarte became game ender against us, and he robbed Cespedes of a walk-off. And but
still hurts.
I love the fact that you would still incorporate your throwing because you got a cannon. You still want to throw somebody out the plate. That would be so sweet. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best feelings in baseball for sure. Robbing a homer is probably second, and then I think I'm not a hitter, but hitting a homer's got to be pretty sweet too. So that's probably a third.
I think Nimmo robbed somebody, right? Didn't he rob somebody on Pittsburgh? I think when they came to Citi Field, I think he got one in the first inning, right?
I think you're right.
Conforto throw somebody out at the plate.
Conforto threw out a ton of guys.
That's what I was thinking of. I think
Conforto threw a guy out to end.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm remembering.
Pretty sweet.
I don't remember what game, but
the whole season's a blur at this point.
It's Jolly. You're supposed to know this stuff.
Yeah, I'm the historian. We're just
the dumb, former athlete. He's a current athlete. You got to know everything else.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the real key piece here. With the two former big league. Yeah,
you're supposed to be the glue here.
Yeah, so that's really. I had no idea you played outfield, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, I loved it.
Can you run even though you're bow-legged? Can you run like?
Hey, bow-legged people are faster. Actually, it's
really
scientifically proven. Maybe not, but I think it is.
But you said it was. So I have to take your word.
But no, I can run a little bit. Back in the day, I'm probably slower now, but I would run in the like high sixes. My 60 time
for the 60-yard. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 6'8", 6'9", not great, but I was.
This body was built for distance. So a mile time, 2 mile time. That's what I look like. I'm built for the marathon.
That's fine.
Which I will never run.
You got the long strides.
We'll never do. I'm the same way though. Look at me. I'm built pretty similar. So we're the endurance runners.
So if you would play center field, how about if you could be an athlete in any other sport besides baseball? Like you mentioned golf. Is that your sport?
Easy. Nope. Easy. This is an easy one. I've talked to people about this. I'd be a Formula One driver.
Wow. That is, I was not expecting that.
Have you watched the Drive to Survive thing on Netflix? Have you seen anything about that? They have like a documentary series about Formula One. I started watching that. I think it was like 2 or 3 spring trainings ago, right when it came out, and I just like started getting into Formula One. Now I watch the races, like I even tune into like the qualifying sessions and stuff. Like I keep up with it, and I think it's the sickest job in the world. What they do is unbelievable. Like they're taking turns at 150 miles an hour. They're just driving, and they just flip their wheel, hoping their car sticks. And it's unreal.
I drive in New Jersey, so I know like all about that, man.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it
gets crazy.
You probably don't go over 20 miles an hour in New Jersey, actually.
No,
so I
there's
don't know
constantly traffic everywhere.
To be fair, Lewis Hamilton seems like he has a sick life. So
he does. Doesn't he? That's it.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's a rare pick because most people pick, football or basketball, or a lot of baseball guys love golf.
I do. I love golf too. Yeah, but I think it's not even close. That would be my next thing. Like that's that so far sick. Above. Yeah,
that's amazing. I'll have to. What was this show? I'll have to check that out.
Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive.
It's 3 seasons now. I think they're doing a 4th. It just like kind of is a recap of each season of Formula One, and it talks about like each team on each episode. It's pretty cool.
Awesome, man.
But it'll get you hooked. I'm warning you. You'll be a Formula One fan. I had no idea about Formula One until I watched that.
Switch my career.
That's what happened to me. Like in soccer, I didn't grow up playing. I wasn't a big fan, and then all my teammates started playing FIFA, and FIFA is the best sports game to play because it's like baseball's fun, and Madden I can't even play because I don't know enough about football. Like the X's and O's and all the audible, it's so hard now. Like I can't, just pick it up. But FIFA was great. And then in 2006, I was in the Northwest League, and we had the first Italian-born baseball player, like the pitcher. Shout out to Alex Maestri, awesome dude. But that was when Italy won the World Cup, and I just fell in love with it. He was crying. I was like a grown man crying about his country winning. I was like, all right, let's see what it's all about. Now, I still don't follow it as much as a lot of people do, but it's just weird how something small like a Netflix series can turn you into a fan of a different sport or, whatever.
Yeah. It's pretty, I'm telling you, give it a chance. You too, Jack. Just give it a chance.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I'm going to change my career. Don't worry about it. I already got the skill set ready, Well, I mean, speaking of sports documentaries and stuff like that, did you get a chance to catch the 30 for 30 on the 86 Mets?
No,
brush up on your Mets
history?
Not.
I was killing myself. Where can I watch it now? Like now that it's not on TV
That's actually
anymore?
A good question. I caught it live.
It's on the ESPN app, the ESPN Plus. And then if you have Hulu, I think you can watch it through Hulu as well.
Oh, okay, good.
I caught like the last 20 minutes of one episode, but I just stopped. I wanted to watch like the full thing.
Smart man. Smart man.
It's pretty good, man. It's kind of crazy. You'll get a new perspective on Keith in the booth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I would sit next to Noah on some of the flights, and he would be reading I don't remember the name of the book, but it was about the 86. Yeah, it was about the 86 Mets.
Was it the Bad Guys Won by any chance?
Yep, the Bad Guys Won. Yeah, it was his book club or whatever, and he would show me some little snippets from it, and I'd read it, and it looked nuts. So I'm definitely interested in watching that. It was
fantastic
pretty good.
Read. Well, I mean, I'm excited to read the book about the 2022 Mets. Should be good. Really looking forward to it.
That'd be sick, huh? That'd be sick.
Not to set any expectations. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
This is New York, man. You gotta have expectations. You want to go into every spring training feeling like you're going to win the World Series. It's literally
that's how it is.
Absolutely.
You have to.
And it'll be that way. You start out with, you have the best pitcher on the planet in Jacob deGrom, and then you have Lindor, you've got Alonso, you got great pieces moving forward. I think that's the goal every year. So
yep, I agree.
It's legitimate.
There's no rebuild years.
You got Drew Smith.
No rebuild. Sir.
You've got the two-way player of Drew Smith ready to step in anywhere he needs to be.
Unleash the weapon.
Seth Lugo, poor man Francisco Lindor.
I just not the switch hitter yet. I'm still working on that.
Gotcha.
On that,
You'll get it. Don't worry about that. Don't sweat it. It's a process.
I've got nothing else. Oh, one quick question. Who was your favorite team growing up, and who was your favorite player growing up?
2 easy ones. Texas Rangers. Grew up 30 minutes from the stadium, and I was a huge Michael Young fan.
I knew it. I should have said it.
I wanted
to guess.
Man. That guy, he was my guy. I was kind of being a position player, obviously growing up too. he was a lifetime Ranger. Or I guess he played for a couple other teams at the end of his career.
He's a lifetime Ranger, though.
Lifetime Ranger. Just hit. I mean, I feel like he hit 300 every year when he was with the Rangers, and
he did. I was there for part of it, and I contributed to some of his magic.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When you're in Oakland, I'm sure.
Dude, that guy, like, I tried everything. He inside it out. I threw a cutter for a little bit too, and I got one in way off of him, and he inside out
hit it
to the right center field for a triple. I'm like, dude, what? How do you do that? I don't know. The guy was amazing, very underrated. So I appreciate
Extremely
that pick
underrated.
because nobody remembers that kind of role player besides true fans. But he was tremendous. So that's cool.
And he was super utility.
Yeah, like you think of those Rangers teams, you think like Josh Hamilton, you think Nelson Cruz, but like Michael Young was like the heart of the Rangers for so many years.
He was the ultimate team guy. Moved over for Kinsler, for Elvis Andrews, for Beltre. Like he just moved whatever the team needed. Never complained.
Got to get Michael Young in the pod.
And by the end of his career, he was this super utility guy because he kept moving positions for everybody, and he was there through the terrible times with the Rangers, and then obviously he was there through the couple World Series runs that ended in absolute heartbreak. But that's okay. I'm not bitter about it anymore.
I'll for my last piece, Eddie Rosario this year made that catch in. Your headphones.
They died. I'm just gonna.
That's all right. Eddie Rosario made that catch against the wall in left field this year in the World Series. It made me think that if Nelly Cruz could have done that in right field, that would have been it. That would have been
Jerry.
I literally crossed my mind.
How are you gonna do this to him, man?
But I don't feel that bad because.
Oh my.
That hurts. That
was just ruined his whole day.
I was scarred for years after that. Like watching that. Just talking, it's like just run into the wall. Just run into the wall. It's okay. You'll take a ring. It's okay. But I can't.
Oh man.
I could have been in that spot and done the same thing. So who knows, But I'd like to think I wouldn't. But you never know until you're there. But it was heartbreak.
It's so hard. They were so good. It's so hard to win a World Series, which is why, it's so special because I was hurt in 15, never got to play in the World Series, never even got close again. But what you'll have is the Mets are going to be competitive. So you're in a great position to be on a team that wants to compete for the World Series for real. And that's got to be exciting with Stevie Cohen coming around with the team. They're not afraid to spend money. So that's really exciting as a player because all you want to do is win for your fans, win for your teammates, win for the organization. So that's great.
Absolutely. I didn't watch every game this postseason, but watched a decent amount, and just like I was jealous, man, watching other relievers come in those situations like that. Just
it's got to make you hungry for it,
Oh, absolutely. Like it gives you drive going into next year. Like, man, I don't want to be sitting here next year watching it on my couch at home, Like,
well, yeah, no. You'll be on again, Shea Station next year, and you can show us your ring.
Yeah, I'll be on maybe like later in November or something.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll squeeze you in. Don't worry.
Off, but it'll be.
You're going to be a big part of that team success, and I guarantee you they're counting on you being a big part of that bullpen. So,
yeah, I hope so. I'm looking forward to it, though.
Drew, we want to thank you for joining us. This was a
Absolutely.
Splendid hour, man. The first friend of the pod on Shea Station.
I'm truly honored, y'all, that I'm the first one. I really am. I appreciate y'all having me on like that.
I'm glad you feel that way, man. This was awesome.
Yes, sir.
Jerry, you got anything else?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for sharing. You gave us some really cool things to think about, some insight. You were open. I appreciate it. At Drew BU3 on Twitter. Anything else you wanna push?
No, I'm just looking forward to next season, and hopefully it ends a little bit differently than it did this year for you guys. So, but no, it was. Thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it, and I'd love to do it again next year at some point if y'all have me. So
absolutely,
definitely.
If we'll have.
All right, thanks, Drew.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, man.
Yep.
And for the rest of our viewers over at Shea Station, thank you guys for joining us for our first guest episode. This was episode 18. This was probably the most fun we've had on the pod yet, and hopefully there's more fun to be had in the off season full of question marks that we got to escape from today. It was really nice to not talk about the front office or GMs or any of that today. It was just like a full
We didn't
escape.
even have to mention the Braves winning the World Series to your IC. I saw it.
I know. You got buddies over there.
If anything, you got to be a fan of like the NL East showing up because everybody dogs on us. But as you know, there's good baseball to be had here. So, as much as the NL West gets all this publicity, guess who's on top when it comes down to it? So
back-to-back full season champions belong to the NL East. Coincidence? I don't think so. But maybe we'll be next. Who knows? But guys, thank you once again for joining us. We'll be back with weekly episodes, hopefully to update you on some exciting Mets news revolving around their front office and new players and all that. But until then, I'm Jolly Olive for Jomboy Media.
And I'm Jerry Blevins. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets, baby.